Hi, my name is Eddy, and I am so excited to be here today. If you're new to practicing with me, I tend to focus quite a bit on this idea of curiosity and intuition. My background is in teaching inquiry, so I'll always bring these themes into practice where I give you space to make some choices. That can be intimidating sometimes, but I invite you to lean into that. This practice today will be a vinyasa inspired practice, an intermediate level, where we invite some of that heat in with some lunge flows and then exploring our camel pose towards the end of the practice today. This practice, you will only need a mat. You're welcome to use blocks, especially in the lunge flows, but no need. And go ahead and get yourself set up for your practice today. Welcome, everyone, to your yoga practice today. We'll move through this slow flow vinyasa style practice where we connect our movement with the breath to find some balance here. So, the invitation today is to start on the back with our flat feet planted beneath our knees. So, we'll take some time to arrive there. In the practice today, I'll say a few things like invitations because everything I'm offering, these are just ideas. My cues will come second to yours. I encourage you to first listen to your own innate wisdom. So arriving here, your feet might be a little bit more wide than your hips and knees can knock in together. Hands can rest somewhere on the body or down next to you. We'll just take a few moments to arrive here, to settle into this space wherever you're at, whether you're on a beach like me or in the living room or in your bed still. So taking time to arrive. Mm. Noticing the things, whether it's the sensations in the body or noticing the quality of the mind or the quality of the breath. In this practice today, sometimes we think we do this yoga practice to suppress everything else out and only stay right here, but in fact, it's the opposite. We'll welcome all the things. The practice of yoga is the practice of welcoming all things. So, whether it's the sensations in the body or the thoughts coming through the mind, or the sounds from the street outside your home, or the waves crashing behind me, we're going to welcome all these things today. So allowing your muscles to begin to melt away from the bones and the bones to become quite heavy into the earth, making this energetic shift from your everyday life into this sacred space that is your yoga practice. Maybe allowing yourself to deepen the breath now, consciously changing the breath. Taking the breath down into our bellies and our ribs. Exhale through the nose and the mouth. Finding some ease here. We'll take a few more just like that. Breathing in the belly and the ribs. Exhale, find ease. One more just like that one. Breathing in your belly, feeling the rise, and breathing out. Feeling the fall. From here, we'll invite in a bit of movement. So we're going to lean into our intuition as if you're waking up from a short nap. You might begin to sway your legs from side to side, these little windshield wipers. You might rock the head from side to side or wiggle around in the fingers or toes. So these first few moments of movement really are yours to invite that curiosity, that intuition in. And then from here, we're going to extend the arms and legs above us. So the soles of the feet can shine up to the sky and the arms can reach above, kind of like we're resting here on like a dead bug. So pausing here for a few moments, you might roll around in the fingers and the wrist or separate the toes and fingers and scrunch everything together. So again, these first few moments are yours. And then from here, we'll begin to shake out the arms and the legs. And when I say shake it out, I mean like really, really go for those shakes. There's gonna be really, really big shakes or a little bit more subtle ones for 5, 4, shake a little bit more for 3, 2, and 1. We'll pause here for just a moment to notice that sensation. So in this practice today, we will invite in this sensation, and this sensation in the body is purely just stimulation for the mind. So we'll just watch it and experience it and allow it to be. And then from here, we're going to make our way into a bit of a core focus, just to invite some heat in. Sometimes the body can be more open to facilitation with a little bit more fire. So the hands can come behind the head. The hands can also come down next to you, maybe even underneath the hips. We're going to flex the feet and squeeze the legs together. And we'll lower down the legs for a count of 5, 4, 3, squeezing the legs together for 2. And for 1, we'll point the toes, lift the feet back up to the air, flex the feet, squeeze the legs in together. We'll lower down for 6, 5, 4. Keep on squeezing the legs together for 2, And for 1, again, point the toes, lift them back up to the sky. Again, flex the feet, squeeze the legs in together. We'll lower down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna pause here. Invitation is to lift the upper back off the earth and then reach the hands towards your feet and then point the toes. So we can hold this in a little bit more in our upper core. We'll breathe here. Welcoming any shakes or wobbles for 5, 4, 3, squeezing the legs in together for 2, and for 1, releasing into the floor, pulling the knees into the chest, either just grabbing onto the knees or taking the hands onto the sides of the feet for that happy baby. Again, now these movements or these moments are yours to invite in any intuition or curiosity in the body. In the practice today, we will mimic all kinds of things, whether it's a warrior or a baby like this one. So all you have to do here is mimic the most previous baby you've seen. You might kind of rock from side to side or extend a leg out. Maybe you giggle, maybe you cry. Wherever you're at today, we'll meet ourselves here. And when this little warm-up feels complete, we're gonna pull the knees into the chest. We'll begin to rock front to back. Depending on what kind of ground you're on, it might feel good. It might also not feel good. There's a stick or a rock beneath you. So in about 3 to 5 rocks and rolls, we're gonna make our way into a seat. Taking our time to arrive. The invitation today is to change the seat up a little bit. So if you always sit that one way with your left leg closer, maybe today you bring your right one closer instead, or maybe you sit onto your shins. You might sit up onto a bolster or a block to get a bit more space for the diaphragm. Hands can be down next to you, they can be down on your lap, or even on the body. So we'll take this time to find this tall seat, this tall spine, so it's light like a flame, this humbling chin, and this proud chest here where shoulders can melt down the back. Pausing here to find your seat, to find your breath. And then we'll prepare to move through our breath practice, our pranayama practice. There's a strong link between the breath and the mind. So the quality of the breathing directly reflects the quality of the mind and vice versa. So this will be our full yogic breath, our 3-part breath, where we breathe down into our belly, and then it moves up into the rib cage, the side, and the back, and then it will move up into the chest. The exhale will be a little bit longer than your inhale. So finding that tall seat, again, shoulders melting down the back, length in the back of the neck. We'll start by exhaling all the air out of the lungs by pulling the navel in. So contraction of the core, exhale, exhale, exhale. We'll then take a deep breath into our belly, into our rib cage, up into the chest. Exhale, find a bit of ease as you release through your nose, finding ease in the eyes, in the jaw. Again, just like that, breathing in belly, ribs, in chest. Exhale, find a little bit more ease. We'll do that just 5 more times at your own pace. Breathing in and breathing out. Really seeing your breath like a wave on the sand. That wave comes up to smooth out the sand and it comes back. The breath doing the exact same thing. The breath kind of smoothing out the fluctuations of the mind, coming back to leave this clear mind. Finding that moment of equanimity and peace and balance. So these next 3 to 4 breaths are yours. Last inhale here, breathing in your belly, in your ribs, and up into your chest. Exhale, find a little bit more ease. So we're gonna see if that breath practice right there can be like a rhythm for our entire practice today. So whether we're sitting here in a seat or whether we are holding a goddess pose or a warrior two, we're gonna see if we can maintain that exact same breath. If the breath ever becomes erratic, like you can't quite catch up to it, it's okay. You can take a moment to pause, even pause the video until you get back into rhythm. So from here, we're gonna lean into our intuition to invite that movement in. So I'll talk a lot about that idea of intuition, where we're really gonna trust the body and the movements. So you might move through some seated cat and cows. You might kind of twist or turn. There's not an exact way to move here. In about 5 breaths, we're gonna meet on our hands and our knees to move through some cats and cows. I'm also gonna say that a few times in these videos where we're gonna meet somewhere in 5 breaths. So that's your time to weave in your own creative freedom in the practice today. So you can roll over your knees, you can scoot the knees from the side from the side. There's not an exact way to move here. So once we arrive in that shape with the hands beneath the shoulders and the knees beneath the hips, we'll invite in those cats and cows. On the inhale, we just reach our heart through our arms, getting our sitting bones to reach to the sky. On the exhale, we tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, and press the floor away. So these next few moments are yours to just bring in some fluidity into the spine with your cats and cows. And then as you move through these cats and cows, I asked the question of how can you be so curious about your practice today? So sometimes we can lean out from those linear movements and invite in that curiosity or that play even into the practice. So your curiosity might lead you into drawing some circles in your back or kind of twisting or turning to look back at your heels for a few moments. So these next three breaths are yours to cultivate your curiosity, to invite that sense of play and exploration into the body as we allow all the things just to be. So inviting in that sense of curiosity with these cat and cows. And when these feel complete for you, we're gonna tuck our toes and plant the hands into the earth and lift up the knees, making our way into our first downward dog shape. So whenever we enter into one of these shapes, this time really is for you just to settle in, to arrive here. So you might be in a little bit more movement with bouncing or swaying from side. I'm going to offer a lot of different cues. And again, all these cues are simply just ideas on how to move around. They're not always the exact correct way. They just are ways to explore around in the body, knowing that that's what this asana practice really is for, to grow and to root back in our beings, to come out of the mind a little bit. So from here, you might bend the knees a little bit more than you normally do, just to find lots of length in your spine, length down the back of your neck. You might lift your heels really high and drop your heels over to the one side. And then inhale, coming back into center. Exhale, drop your heels to the other side. Again, inhale, coming back into center. The long spine will come first to the heels coming down. So once you find the long spine, then you might bring your heels a little bit closer to the earth. I like to try to press my ribs a bit closer to my thighs with these bounces. So these next three or so breaths are yours to explore your downward dog, either in movement or stillness. And then from here, we're gonna meet in a forward fold at the top of our mat. You can take a big old step. You can do a little meditative walk to get there. But once we get to the top of the mat, we're going to inhale halfway lift to find lots of length in the spine, length in the back of the neck. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Hands might come toward the floor to bend the knees as much as you need. Again, inhale halfway lift, lots of length in the spine. Exhale, fold back down, pulling in the core as you fold, crown of the head reaching to the floor. Inhale halfway lift, lots of length. And exhale, fold on back down to your forward fold just to hang out here for a few moments. So you can clasp the elbows, you can sway from side to side or do that downward dog pedaling and out kind of thing. If you're seeking more heat today, you might take peace fingers onto your big toes. Inhale, halfway lift again. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper. So now these next three breaths are yours to explore your downward dog, or sorry, your forward folds. This is a tool here, this forward fold. We can offer some tone to our parasympathetic nervous system here. So we'll take two more breaths, either in movement or stillness. And then from here, we'll give a nice bend to our knees. We're going to slowly articulate our way up through our spine as we're inhaling. Arms can reach out to the side, reach high to the sky. Big inhale here. Exhale, hands come down to the heart center and then down to side. We'll pause here as we root our feet into the earth, finding some length in the neck, palms facing forward. And then we'll find some ease in the shoulders. The invitation is to lift up the heels a little bit and then just to bounce a little bit here. Arms can be heavy, breathing in through the nose and exhaling through your mouth, releasing any residue from your day. Two more just like that, breathing in belly and releasing out of the mouth. Nice. We'll do one more just like that. Breathing in and breathing out. We're going to settle into some moments of stillness. Invitation is to lift up the toes, find lots of surface area, and then see if you can lower down the pinky toe, moving all the way down to the big toe. Again, palms face forward, roll the shoulders up, snuggle those shoulder blades down towards the back ribs. If you just expanded your upper rib cage, can you knit the ribs in, a slight tuck of the tailbone? Breathing here. Like you can almost breathe up through the earth, lifting up the inner arches. We're now prepared to move through our sun salutations to invite a little bit more heat in. When you're ready, inhale, rise and reach to the sky. On the exhale, hinging from the hips, folding, leading with the heart and the throat. Inhale, halfway lift, lots of length in the spine. Exhale, plant the hands down, step on back. We'll take one inhale here. On the exhale, coming down through chaturanga or that half push-up. On the inhale, opening up into the heart, hips can stay low here or high. Exhale, we'll make our way on back to our downward dog. We'll take a few breaths here. You can be here in that movement again or settle right into stillness. Take 2 more full yogic breaths, breathing into the nose and out through the nose. On the next inhale, rise high onto the toes. On the next exhale, bending in the knees, gazing at our thumbs as we step or float to get to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, lots of length. Exhale again, folds, contract. Inhale, rise and reach to the sky. Big inhale here. Exhale, hands come back down to the heart center and down to side, moving with your breath. Inhale, rise. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step or flow back. On that same exhale, we'll come down to that chaturanga, knees up or down. Inhale, open up, either hips low or high. Exhale, make your way on back to your downward dog. We'll take just a few breaths here. Breathing into the nose and out through the nose, finding length in the spine, widening your upper back, getting those sitting bones to reach a little bit higher up to the sky. Take 1 more inhale and 1 more exhale. Inhale, rise high onto the toes. Then exhale, bend in the knees, gaze at the thumbs as you step or float to get to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, length. Exhale, fold, contraction. Inhale, rise and reach. And exhale, hands come back down to the heart and then down to side. 1 last round at your own pace, either faster or slower than I am. Inhale, rise. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step or flow back. On the same exhale, coming down. Inhale, open up into the heart, broad collarbones. Exhale, make your way on back to your downward dog. Once we get here, inhale, rise under the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, step or float to get to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, lots of length. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Inhale, rise and reach up to the sky. Big inhale here. Exhale, hands come back down to the heart center, down to side. We'll pause here. Noticing any heat that has increased. Noticing the quality of your breath. The quality of the mind. Can we allow all these things just to come and go? Without getting caught up in the waves. But allowing the waves just to wash right over you. Take 1 more inhale here. And 1 more exhale here. Finding a bit of ease in your shoulders. Next, inhale, rise and reach to the sky. On the exhale, folding from the hips, pulling in the core. Inhale, halfway lift, lots of length in the spine. Exhale again, plant the hands down, step or flow back. You can move to that vinyasa flow, or you can always just come right on back to that downward dog. That's always going to be an option here. We're going to meet here in about 2 or so breaths. Once we get back in that downward dog, we're going to inhale, take the right leg up and back. Exhale, pull that foot between the hands. We'll plant the foot down, drop the back knee. We'll explore this low lunge and this half Hanuman for just a few moments here. So the low lunge is where we sink the hips down, reach the heart through the arms. On the exhale, we'll shift the hips back either a little bit or a lot of bit where we extend and strengthen that right leg. So these next few moments are yours to explore these 2 asanas and the transition in between them. Your movements might be quite fast, or yours might be a little bit more slow. So these next 3 or so breaths are yours to explore and to play with these 2 asanas. So we're going to meet back in that low lunge. We're going to lift up that back knee for this runner's lunge. So the hands are going to reach down behind us, and we're going to reach with the crown of the head to the front. From this runner's lunge, we're going to inhale, rise high to our high lunge. And we're going to pause here. Again, when we enter into a shape, we'll take a little bit of time just to settle in. Can you find some ease in the shoulders? Can you fire up that back leg? Maybe try to find lots of surface area with that right foot. And then we're going to flow. So from this inhale, we'll stay. On the exhale, we're going to drop the back knee and goddess the arms, bend the elbows, and reach through the heart and the throat. Inhale, rise high to your high lunge. On the exhale, runner's lunge, reach with the crown of the head, moving with your breath. Inhale, rise. And exhale, goddess the arms, open the heart and throat. Inhale, rise. Exhale, reach. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale here. And exhale here. Welcoming any turbulence that comes in. Inhale, rise. Exhale, drop the back knee. We're going to take the left hand to root into the earth. Right hand can come onto the knee for a twist here. You can rock to the outer edge of that right foot. You might stay right here. If you want to go a little bit further, you might reach the right arm forward and up and around to reach behind you. If you want to go a little bit further, you might bend the back knee and you might catch the foot with that right hand and sink a little bit deeper into this twist. So these next few breaths are yours to come into your expression of your pose. This reminder that there is no place to get to in this practice. Wherever you're at today is exactly where you need to be. Take 2 more full yogic breaths here, breathing in belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, leaning into the shape. So 1 more inhale here, and 1 more exhale here. Then inhale, we'll release the foot if you had onto it. We'll plant the hand down. We're going to lift the back knee and pivot all the way over towards the long edge of our mat for this straddle. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold a little bit deeper to hang out for some time. So a lot of different variations, a lot of different ways to play here in this shape. You might just ragdoll and kind of bounce or even bend the knees. If you're seeking a little bit more fire, you might take peace fingers onto the big toes. Again, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, pull the heart a bit closer down, crown of the head reaching to the floor. So these next 3 to 5 breaths are yours to explore that shape. Again, there's not one place to get into. So honoring where you're at today. 2 more breaths wherever you're at. One more inhale here, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, you might fold a little bit deeper. Next inhale will come to a halfway lift. On the exhale, walk the hands over to the front of the mat. Right leg steps back, move to a vinyasa flow, or come right on back to your downward dog. We're gonna meet there in about 1 to 2 breaths. From your downward dog, inhale, left leg comes up and back. Exhale, pull that thigh into the chest. We'll plant the foot through, again, to explore those lunges. So we inhale, sink the hips down, reach the heart through. Exhale, shift the hips back. When you shift the hips back, you might try to hold that femur bone into the hip socket and flex that left foot. It might be just a little bit, it might be a lot of it. Knee can just stay over or hip can stay over the knee, or hips can come over the ankle. So these next few breaths are yours to explore these 2 asanas. From here, we'll meet back in that low lunge, rooting the left foot to the earth. We're gonna lift up the back knee, coming back into our runner's lunge. Hands can reach behind us. We're gonna reach with the crown of the head to the front. Inhale, rise high here for that high lunge. Again, taking just some moments to settle in here. Maybe little bounces or wiggling around in the fingers. Again, maybe spreading your left toes. A sense of ease in the face. Take 1 more inhale here. On the exhale, drop the back knee. Goddess the arms, reach the heart to the sky. Inhale, rise. And exhale, lean and reach, moving with your breath. Inhale, rise. Exhale, drop the back knee, goddess the arms. Inhale, rise. And exhale, reach. Just 2 more like this. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale, reach. Inhale, rise. Exhale, drop the back knee, goddess the arms. We'll take the right hand to root to the earth, left hand onto the knee, back for that twist here. You can kind of just explore this shape. You might rock to the outer edge of that left foot and lean to turn back. Maybe you draw that arm up and around to reach behind you. Maybe you grab the foot. I say these things like maybe and you might do this because, again, these are all just ideas on how to explore these asanas, but there's not one way to do it. So we'll take about 3 or so more breaths in that twist here. On the next inhale, we're gonna make our way all the way back to lift up the back knee, pivot over towards the long edge of the mat again. We're gonna walk the heels in so toes point out. We'll bend into the knees. We'll bring the forearms on the insides of the thighs, or the thumbs can also go here. So these next few moments are yours just to find some fluidity, to find some release. You might drop a shoulder into the middle. So again, that cultivation of your intuition and your trust in your body. From here, we'll make our way into goddess pose or devyasana, where we stack the shoulders over the hips. We come into this kind of cactus-shaped arms. We're pinching the shoulder blades together. We're lengthening down the tailbone and lengthening up the back of the neck. Trying to track those knees over the ankles. We're gonna inhale, find a little bit of length. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. We're gonna move with our breath here. Inhale, find some length. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. 3 more just like this. Inhale here, and exhale here. 2 more. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper, firing up in the hips. Inhale here, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, sink as low as you can go for 5, 4, 3, 2, smile, 1. Inhale, open up to a big star. Big inhale here. Exhale, hands come down to the hips. Point the toes over towards the front of the mat. We'll plant the hands down. Left leg steps on back. Move through a vinyasa flow or come right on back to your downward dog. We're going to meet here in about 2 breaths. From this downward dog, we're going to drop down onto the knees. We'll sit on tucked toes or tops of the feet for just a few moments. Any little wrist rolls here, any shake out on the wrist. There's not, and again, an exact way to find fluidity into the wrists. Oh, I got in the way. So rolling around here, little shake outs. I like to grab beneath one of the wrists and then roll around in both directions. You might do the other side. You might look around your beautiful view you have. It's your living room or the beach. And then we're going to explore this little camel preparation. So we'll plant the hands beneath the shoulders. And you can watch me or move with me. On my inhale, I'll bring the top of my feet to the earth. I'm going to inhale, slowly articulate my way through my spine as I reach my arms out to the side. Reach high to the sky. Big inhale here. Exhale, plant the hands down. Lift up the knees a little bit or a lot of it. Inhale, drop the knees. Roll on up. Big inhale here. And exhale, plant the hands down. Root to the hands. Lift the knees a little bit or a lot of it. So these next few moments are yours to explore these 2 asanas. Inhale, expand. Take up space. Exhale, plant the hands and contract. So 3 more breaths just like this. Inhale, rise and expand. And exhale, root the hands down and lift the knees. If there is a shape where you need to spend a little bit more time here, maybe on the top of the ankles, feel free to linger and explore that one. Again, you might move faster or slower than I'm going. We're going to meet in downward dog in about 3 breaths. You can do a few more of those flows. If you want a vinyasa flow to get there, feel free to go there. But about 2 more breaths, we'll come back into downward dog. And once we get here, we're going to inhale, take the right leg up and back. Exhale again, pull the foot into plant between the hands. We'll leave that back knee lifted this time. Inhale, rise to that high lunge. On the exhale, runner's lunge. We'll just do this one just a few more times. Inhale, rise here. And exhale, lean. Inhale, rise here. On this exhale, we're going to see if we can pop up into a warrior 2. You might need to step that foot in a little bit. We're going to pop up that back leg. Hands can reach behind us. We're going to flex that left foot. Maybe internally rotate the toe in slightly. Your expression of the shape might be a little bit more diagonal. This could be your warrior 2. You might be more parallel to the earth. Again, doesn't matter where you go today. Firing up in that back hovering leg, we're going to flow here. Inhale, rise, pull the left knee high. As you reach the fingers up into the sky, on the exhale, shift on back to that warrior 3. We'll just do that just 2 more times. Inhale, rise high. And exhale, shift on back. Last time here. Inhale, rise high, pull the left knee high, reach to the sky. On the exhale, hands will come down to the heart center. We're going to open up that hip just to explore. We'll come into a tree pose in a few moments, but first we'll find a bit of fluidity in the hip. So drawing a few circles here, and then changing directions. When you're ready, we'll come into our tree pose. So that foot can either be the kickstand. This could be your expression of the shape. That's great. If you want to go a bit further, the foot might be planted to the calf muscle. We're just going to avoid the inner side of that knee. It might come up a little bit higher into the thigh. Again, doesn't matter where you go. Hands can be to the heart center. We're opening up the hip. This proud chest here, this humbling of the chin as you lengthen up the back of your neck. We'll breathe here. The lips can be together. The teeth are slightly apart. And the tongue pressing against the roof of the mouth. This mudra, this tool to bring us here into this moment. As we root the right foot into the earth. Maybe finding a drishti or a focal point in front of you to dive into, to notice the beauty, whether it's the sand or the painting on a wall. Take 2 more full yogic breaths here. On the next inhale, we're gonna release that leg out to the side, but still kind of keep it out like that cactus shape. On the next inhale, that left leg is gonna step all the way back to drop the heel. Inhale, rise high with your right arm, left arm drops back. On the exhale, cartwheel the arms down, right leg steps on back, move to a vinyasa flow, or come on back to your downward dog. We're gonna meet there in about 2 or so breaths. All right, so from this downward dog, we'll move on to the next side. So inhale, left leg comes up and back. On the exhale, pull that thigh into the chest. We'll intentionally plant that foot between the hands. We're gonna leave that back knee lifted this time to, again, inhale, rise high to our high lunge. We'll take some moments here just, again, to settle into the shape. Soft shoulders, strengthen your arms. Then from here, we're gonna flow. So inhale, find length. Exhale, reach with the crown, reach the hands to the back for runner's lunge, moving with your breath. Inhale, rise. And exhale, lean and reach. Inhale, rise here. On this time, again, we're gonna make our way back in that warrior 3. So you might need to step that back foot in a little bit. We're gonna pop up that back leg, root that left foot to the earth. Arms can reach behind you. They can also come to the heart center. Can the back leg be strong and steady? So whenever we hover a limb here, we're gonna engage in all the muscles. You might try to internally rotate that toe in, length through the neck. We're gonna flow now. Inhale, rise, pull the right knee high with you. Fingers can reach to the sky, welcoming any turbulence that comes in. Exhale, shift on back to your warrior 3. We'll be here for just a few more moments. Inhale, rise, moving with your breath. And exhale, shift on back. Last time here. Inhale, rise here. On this exhale, hands will come back down to the heart center. We'll just draw a few hip circles again with that right hip this time. So nothing specific on the directions we need to move in, just kind of being so curious here. And when that feels complete, we'll make our way into our tree pose. Again, maybe the kickstand, maybe the calf muscle, maybe behind the thigh. Does not matter where you go. We're opening up the hip, hands can press together. Again, that mudra where the lips are together, teeth can be slightly apart. The tongue pressing against the roof of your mouth. Length through the neck, and then root down through that left foot. We'll breathe here, these smooth and steady breaths, just like the waves behind me. Clearing any fluctuations in the mind, smoothing out that sand. Take 2 more full yogic breaths, just like the ones we began with. From here, we'll release that leg out to the side. We're gonna step that right leg on back to land to the heel. Inhale, right arm reaches high, left can drop back. Exhale, cartwheel the arms down. Left leg steps back, move through that vinyasa flow, or come right on back to that downward dog. We'll meet here in about 2 or so breaths, pressing the floor away, finding equal weight in the hands and the feet. Length in the neck. Take 1 more inhale here. On the exhale, we'll drop the knees down. We can either sit on the tucked toes or the tops of the feet. We'll prepare for our camel pose. So there's a lot of different variations to do this. If you have anything sensitive with the knees, you might plant a blanket beneath the knees. We're gonna lift the hips on top of the knees or over the knees. We're gonna press the hips forward. So imagining that you are against a wall right now, we're gonna see if the hips can stay against the wall. And we're gonna lift from the heart. So you can start just by lifting high to the sky and pressing hips forward. So this could be your expression of your asana today. If you want to go a little bit further, you can also place the hands behind you. Fingers usually point down. However, I've seen people point them out to the side, even up to the back. So find what feels best for you. Hips, again, press to the wall as we lift and open into the chest. Drop the head slightly back, so a little bit of a plank here in the neck. Almost like a little double chin. You might tuck the toes to see if your hands can find the heels. Again, hips press forward, open the heart and the chest, breathing here. These smooth and steady breaths. Almost like you can massage your organs with your breath. Getting a sense of ease in your face. We'll take 2 more full yogic breaths here, breathing in belly and ribs and chest. Exhale, we lean a little bit deeper into the shape. Take 1 more inhale here. On the exhale, we'll use our core to contract to rise back up. We'll plant the hands down. Knees can be nice and wide and big toes can come together. We'll sink the hips over the heels, reach the arms out long, head can come down to the earth to explore your child's pose. Just that moment to reconnect, to come back. Noticing the quality of the thoughts. Can they be smooth and steady? Can you allow all the things just to come and go, whether it's a child running around you right now, or a cat or a dog, or the thoughts in your mind? This is the practice of allowing all these things just to be. We'll take 2 more full yogic breaths here. On the next inhale, we're gonna rise back up. We're just gonna turn over to the side and scoot the legs around to explore our Navasana or our boat pose. So a lot of different variations here. We'll plant the flat feet to the earth. Hands can come behind the knees. We're gonna find lots of length in our spine. Again, that proud chest, the humbling of the chin. So this could be your expression of your boat pose right here. If you want to go a little bit further, you might try to pull the knees into the chest to use your hip flexors to contract. You might hover the legs to find a little bit of balance here. Maybe you try to explore extending the legs. So find your expression of your shape. Can the eyes be soft? Can the jaw be soft? Can you release tension where it doesn't need to be held? We'll take one more inhale here. On the exhale, we're gonna extend long back into that low boat. So here we're gonna kind of hover on our hips. We can engage in our arms, squeeze the legs in together to use our upper core. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release down into the earth. Big breath in, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, find a bit of ease as you release through the mouth or the nose. One more just like that. Breathing in belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, find a little bit of ease. From here, we'll plant the flat feet beneath the knees to make our way into our bridge pose. So we'll take the feet a little bit further away from us. Usually we bring them quite close, just so we can imagine that we're trying to scrunch up the middle of the mat together between the hips and the heels to use the hamstrings a little bit. So we're gonna lift up the toes, find all that surface area to root the four corners of the feet down, try to scrub the mat together, and then we're gonna lift up the hips. Arms can be next to you. You might begin to walk the arms behind you to lift the hips up a little bit more. Can you squeeze the legs in together as you find ease around the face and the eyes, and then open up the heart. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, continuing to move or be here with your breath. For 2, and for 1, move back down through your spine. We'll bring the feet a little bit more wide, and then you can stay here in stillness, or you might invite in a little bit of fluidity, whatever the body needs today in your practice. And we'll do one more round just like that. So we'll take the feet beneath the knees or a little bit further away. Arms can be next to you. Scoop the tailbone, lift the hips high, rooting down through the feet. You might squeeze the legs in together, breathing here. If you want to go a bit further, we'll take that right leg to shine up to the sky, firing up the muscles in that right leg. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the hips down. We're going to take a flexed right foot over that left ankle. You can stay right here if you want to go a little bit further. You might pull the knee into the chest, either here or be here in movement or stillness. Again, that sense of ease in the face. And then we'll release that leg down. Again, any little shake out on the wrists, any windshield wipers with the hips and the legs. And we'll move on to the other side. So rooting down to the feet, we lift the hips into the air. We'll now take the sole of the left foot to shine up to the sky. Can you press that right foot into the earth, finding that surface area, finding that connection to the earth? Again, you might just come into your bridge pose. So again, we meet ourselves here for the practice. We'll take 2 more full yogic breaths here, breathing in belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, stay a moment longer. Take 1 more inhale here. On the exhale, lower the hips. A flexed left foot will come onto the right knee. You might stay right here, or you might pull that thigh into the chest. We'll be here for just a few moments, honoring where you're at today. And we'll release that foot down. Again, last little moment, we'll take the foot down. Any last little fluid motion in the hips to find that ease, that space. And we'll make our way into our twists. So we're gonna just roll over onto the right side of the body. We'll take the arms out in front of us, make these little crocodile arms. We're gonna reach a little bit past, so from this fetal position, we'll reach a little bit past the bottom arm with the top. We're gonna draw a little half moon up and around us. The thumb might draw on the floor as you make your way into a twist. We'll do that one just a few times. So coming on back to the center in that fetal position, arms can reach together. Same thing, reach a little bit past the arm, draw that half moon up and around you. We'll do that just one more time. So coming back, finding that fluid motion. And last time, we'll draw that half moon up and around. We'll make our way into our twist, where the opposite shoulder will sink heavy. The right hand might come onto the left side of the knee. Your gaze might work over to the left hand. We'll breathe here. Each inhale, finding a little bit more length. Each exhale, leaning into the shape. 2 more full yogic breaths just like this. The same breath that we began with. One more inhale here. And exhale, leaning back into our shape. Next inhale, draw that half moon up and around. From here, we'll roll on back onto our back to flip on to the other side. So back into that fetal position. We'll take the arms out in front of us, those knees pulled up into the chest. We'll start by reaching a little bit past that bottom arm, draw that half moon up and around, opening up. We'll do that just a few more times. Again, your movements might be a little bit more fast, might be a little bit more slow and subtle. Meeting yourself here for your practice. And one last time, that half moon up and around you, opening up your wingspans. Left hand might come on to the right side of that knee as your right shoulder sinks heavy with gravity. Breathing here. Your smooth and steady breaths. Next inhale, we'll come back into that fetal position. And then we're going to roll onto our backs to prepare for our final expression or our final invitation in the practice today in Savasana. So if your room is cool at all, invitation is to bring a blanket or to throw a sweater on. We'll take a little bit of time to settle up for this or to settle in for this Shavasana. Usually we take the legs nice and wide so feet can fall naturally open. Legs can be a little bit more wide than your hips. Lying on the back, arms can be next to you, maintaining lots of length in your neck. Palms can also be somewhere on the body. In Shavasana, this is a moment for us to find rest and to find ease. It's like we mimic a happy baby in the beginning part of our practice. This is actually a mimic of death, where we have this opportunity to release all the holds, to release all the clinging and the identities that hold us down here. And then we rest here in this state of open presence, this yogic state of being, in which the mind is like the depth of the ocean, and we allow all these waves on the surface just to come and go, just to wash over us as we sit here in that depth. So these next 2 minutes or so, 1 minute or so, is yours to find ease, to allow your practice to integrate into the body. When the mind drifts away, we'll bring it back here to this moment without any judgment at all. That's what the mind does. It plans and remembers, but we'll bring it back here into the sensations, into the breath. Feeling your bones become a little bit more heavy into the earth. Feeling that gravitational pull down into the earth. Maybe even feeling your own heartbeat here. This moment to come back into the body. For this Shavasana, the invitation is to go for 10 minutes. I'm not going to sit here for 10 minutes though, so if you'd like, you might pause this video, and then we'll pick it up in a second. After moving through your Shavasana for as long as that your body needs, we're going to slowly begin to deepen the breath. So we'll take the breath down into our bellies and into our ribs. then up into our chest. And again, exhale, find a little bit of ease. So we kind of make our way back into this body and back into our senses using deepening of the breath, using the deepening of the breath. And then with that, we'll invite in those little movements. So you might begin to wiggle the toes or wiggle the fingers or rock the head from side to side. You might bend the knees and move through those windshield wipers again. And like a yawn in the body, those movements might grow up into a nice full body stretch. Big inhale here. Exhale, you might come heavy into the floor or pull the knees into the chest, coming into a little ball. A little rock and roll from side to side. We'll eventually make our way into a nurturing posture. The imitation is that onto the side in that fetal position, knees pulled nice and close into the chest, resting here for just a moment or two. Noticing what it feels like compared to in Savasana, lying on the back, exposing the belly and the heart, to this where you kind of close it all in together, like a little seed. When you're ready with heavy eyes or closed eyes, we'll press the hands to the earth, making our way up into a shape that we want to seal the practice in. It might be a tall seat. It might be right where you're at right now. Again, that tall spine, light like a flame. Hands can rest somewhere on the body or onto the knees or the lap somewhere. This humbling of the chin, our proud chest. We'll take a deep breath and inhale here. Exhale, find a little bit more ease. And we just take these few moments just to notice how we feel. Not to analyze anything at all, but simply just to experience and to check in. And we'll take the hands up in front of the face to rub the palms together, creating some heat and some friction here. Going a little bit faster with a bit more friction. And we'll take these warm, healing hands over closed eyes, giving yourself the most loving and kind eye massage, that gentle pressure, these little circles here. Then allowing that massage to be carried to anywhere where it needs to go into the body. So it might stay longer in the face and the temples, maybe into the jaw, maybe down the body, the arms or the belly, down the legs, all the way to the feet. And from darkness to light, may we all see the truth in all things. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.